Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 32 of the Empowered Hearts podcast. We are matching in hats today.
Winter.
It's winter. It's like toot girl season.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I have like 50 toques.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Definitely
obsessed.
don't have 50 toques, but I have a few.
Yeah, I love toques.
So lately, so I had like this realization the other night that I think I'm having another spiritual awakening, and I voice noted Crystal for 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
she writes back. I thought she was asleep. She writes back, she's like, I'm literally going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to share it. I hope to God somebody can relate, but if not, you guys just might think we're quacks, and that's fine.
I think this is going to be really good because it gives you a chance to see life in a different perspective,
Yes.
a different way of understanding how this universal game actually works.
And that's what it is at the end of the
Yeah,
day. It's
game.
a game.
Mhm.
And if you can okay, so what are we talking about? We are talking about life being, yeah, it is a manifestation. Life is a physical manifestation. How we in our bodies experience life is through physical senses, right? So
Yeah.
we are physical bodies on this earth with a big soul,
Mhm.
and the way that our soul experiences life is through the physical three-dimensional world.
Yeah.
But there's a but and a dot 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 after.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that is the only part of life, and that is where we all get tripped up. If we only a lot of people only like live in the 3D, meaning they're
Yeah.
like, well, I need money to live. Yes. I need this to happen. I put one foot in front of the other, and then this happens. But that is not the whole story, right? Like there's a lot more going on in this universe besides this 3D physical reality, and we forget that. And what I have, like my spiritual awakening, my next level of spiritual awakening happened the other day where I was like, I was driving, I was like I would needed a pizza in the middle of the evening, which I'm getting my period. I was just like, I need a pizza. So I'm driving to get a small pizza, and I'm in like this good mood, and I got like this pull of frequency where I remembered my old life of like needing to work 12 hours a day, having to do this and this in order for this to happen, feeling at the mercy of somebody else, just like a pull. And I was like, I am not entering, like I'm not um going to
Entertaining.
entertaining that thought right now. I pushed it away. I came home and I realized that like, and I know people always say this, but I like it clicked for me.
Clicked.
It
Mhm.
clicked. Like that's what happens when you have a another, like you get different layers and levels of spiritual awakenings,
Mhm.
is like something landed deeper for me. I was like, oh, everything is always going on all at once.
Mhm.
And I just realized that like that negative frequency of needing to work 12 hours a day, putting one foot in front of the other, being the mercy of somebody else, is happening at the same time as I can manifest anything in my reality. This universe is mine. Everything happens for a reason. Everything's beautiful. This is on God's time. Like those coexist in the same moment. It's just what you're it's what you're capable of tapping into.
Yeah, because it's like the cone of consciousness. So,
Yes.
when we talk about the higher self, it's not a being that's like floating above you, talking like your way, guiding your way through life. It's you in your highest level of consciousness,
Yeah. It's
right?
when people say like we need to get to the 5D, I
Yeah.
use quotations. It's not, you don't need to go anywhere. It
No.
is right here. It's just a perspective.
Yep, that's it right there.
All it is.
Perspective. It's a yeah.
Consciousness, raising and or moving from the 3D to the 4D to the 5D, whatever you want to call it, 6D, if you can go higher than that, is literally just a perspective shift. Is the
And
best.
so 3D is your human experience, what you taste, smell, touch, see, and hear.
Yes.
That is your 3D. And so a lot of people think that the 3D, what your reality is all there is. And that you have no control over life, but it's actually backwards. You control everything in your life. It's kind of like you're the writer of a play, and you 24/7, whether you think you are or you're not, you are creating what is going on in your 3D reality, which also means you have the power to change anything about your play that you don't like, just by shifting your perspective.
It's, yeah.
It's literally that simple when you understand it in that way. And if you start to practice it, you'll notice how fast things change.
But let's go deeper than that, because in order for this to be true, and when I say true, I mean, in order for you to like shift perspective and stay there, because you can shift a perspective for this is at least what I found. You can shift a perspective for a second, but if you don't believe that perspective, you're going to get pulled back into the one that you truly believe. So you can shift it and be like, okay, yes, I can see that different perspective. That's a higher perspective. But then you get like, woo, it pulls you back down like a magnet, because your belief system in your subconscious, in your cells, doesn't actually believe 100% that perspective is true and possible.
Absolutely. And same. If you open yourself up to the possibility that it is true, you don't even have to fully believe it, but if you open yourself up to the possibility and you allow yourself to continue to bring yourself back to that perspective, the more positive reinforcement that it has in your energy. So it's like, you don't have to fully believe it at the beginning, like you said, but the more that you allow yourself to entertain that, the more that you're going to continue to be like, this feels really good. Yes. You know, like when I think about this, I feel so good. That's all it takes, is just continuing to bring yourself back to it and back to it. And then your thought, your emotion, it starts to ingrain in your energy. So this is what happens between the beginning of a desire, and these are the steps that it takes in order to manifest the desire. You're like moving on a little bit of a scale. And once that belief drops in and anchors, and it's not even a belief at that point, it's just a knowing. You're like, yes,
it's just like your new reality. And being able to change our belief system is how you quote unquote hop timelines, is how you quote unquote quantum leap. It's like, this is why they say like everything's always here at once. And all the time I was like,
what does that mean?
Are you talking about? Like, guys, like,
yeah. Or they say your desire's already yours. It's the same thing.
What the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, that sounds like really cute and all, but like, what does that actually mean? My autism and like ADHD is like, no, I need tangible information. This doesn't make sense.
Because we assign the 3D to truth.
Yes.
And that's not how it goes.
I know.
The
And,
3D
and
is
like,
it is like an old manifested belief system is your 3D.
yes.
That's what it is.
And it's ingrained in the collective consciousness.
Yep.
And if you guys don't know what what that means. The collective consciousness is, so if you can forget about for a second, close your eyes, guys, forget about that we are physical for a second and imagine being your mind, being your mind, being your third eye, being your mind. And now it's like we are all connected, that the thought process that you can use, your dreams, your creativity, all of those things that have nothing to do with your physical body, all of your wishes, your desires, we all share that. And so what was I going with this? I've lost myself.
That's okay. Something that I've learned recently, I'm reading this really good book.
Oh yes.
Okay, this has changed everything for me. The world is your mirror,
Yes.
basically. So it's teaching you how you have power over your life. And it's literally goes back to the creator, the source, the universe, the manifesting energy. We manifest in 5 ways. So things that play out in your life are, the reason why they do is because you expect them to, you assume them to, you believe them to, you're either you're operating out of fear, which we have learned recently that fear is actually just disguised as faith because you have faith in the fear of the outcome playing out.
Yes.
Right? And so if you notice when you have a belief, like let's use money, because money is a really big one for people. We'll use a very limiting belief. I can never get out of debt. No matter how hard I try, I just get more and more in debt. You assume that to be true. You believe that to be true. The fear is that you're never going to get out of debt. You expect that you're just going further into debt. And so what is happening?
And so it becomes true, meaning,
yeah,
like, you know,
right.
I've had to overthink this a bunch because this is just how my brain works. So it's like meaning, so therefore that becomes true. But that's still, I feel like, fluffy. But
It is.
what
Yeah,
it
it's
means,
fluffy.
but like tangibly, what it means is you close your mind off to being able to see other possibilities. Because so when you're like, well, like I work a 9 to 5, like how am I going to do this and blah blah blah, and like how is this going to happen? It's impossible because you're like reminding your subconscious, like, yep, that's true. Well, that is true. You're not giving your mind any more, or your aura, your energy, all of it, any other possibility for anything else to be true. And so,
Well, and so
true.
and to you it feels true.
Yes.
Because it's actually happening in your life.
Yes.
And so how do you change it? You force yourself to have the exact opposite thoughts, even though they feel so foreign and it feels fake and fluffy and like there's no way. You just do it. I am abundant. Money flows to me in ways that I could never expect. I always have more money in my bank account at the end of the month than I need. You start forcing yourself to have thoughts that are the exact opposite of what is playing out in your reality that you don't like. As soon as you notice it, flip it.
And like I'm having like a low energetic day, so I can feel where doubts are in my energy system. So when you're saying those things, I can feel like mild pings today. So it's like when you feel those pings of that's not true. No, well, that's not, you have to be like, but what happens if it, like, can we just pretend it is true?
Yeah.
Let's just entertain the possibility that maybe it could happen. And like,
exactly. Yeah.
you need to get yourself in alignment with believing it to be true. So however you have to tell yourself that, maybe it could be true one day. Oh, okay. That feels good.
Feels good.
When you get that, that feels good, that means that you're on the belief system of the possibility. If you are like, that's bullshit. No, it's not going to work. You have to be like, okay, like I can like, I think I can get into that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just, it's practice is all it is. It's practice, because the more you think those thoughts, then you start to build a momentum of that energy. Even if it's like, you're going to call it daydreaming, but it's actually creating. What you're doing is you're creating a new perspective. How do you think that there's multimillionaires on this earth? That they've just stepped into millions of dollars, because that is possible.
It
So
is.
that is possible for you too. You are equal to the same as every single person on this earth. It is literally a perspective change.
Yeah.
And so the more that you practice a new perspective, the more that you open yourself up, like you said, to possibility, that's all it has to be.
All it has to be.
The more that you entertain those thoughts, the more that they're going to start to feel possible and exciting. And you're like, well, what if this actually did happen?
And that is the key to manifestation, and the key to changing your life from this old way of believing that everything is one foot in front of the other to random miracles happening, right? It's all in your belief system, but it goes further than just saying affirmations, because I find affirmations or like writing it out, if you don't believe it, actually goes against, it actually works against your subconscious, because it like solidifies in your body even more. That's not true. So like we were saying, like you just have to make it has to just slide it a little bit to be possible. Like what words can you say to yourself?
Exactly.
Like that you're like, okay. And then you work up to it. You work up more and more and more. And the more you work up to more, the more you're just like, well, obviously that's true. And then boom, yes, it is.
You could even use the phrase, which I don't necessarily like it because it's an ego phrase, but it would be something tangible for people. What if I was a millionaire? What if I made $500 more a month than I do in a regular month? Like, what would I do with that money? How would it feel? And you start to just play out scenarios. What if this is possible? What if what these two are telling me is actually true and they're not just like delusional? Because we're not. It is true.
I remembered what I was going to say now. So when we were talking about the 3D and you're like, that's part of the old way, it's part of our collective consciousness, like that belief system, that way of thinking, we all share it, right? To different degrees. And so, but we also also share the higher perspective. And it's like, depending who you are, how you were raised, whatever, you're going to have different belief systems. But I can say for the most part, like we all do believe that what we see is, and then we unlearn that as we grow older. So it's like, if you can stop giving so much power to what is right now and give more power to what could be, you're going to change what is to what could be. Now, the way we manifest things in the 3D, meaning in the tangible, it takes a little bit longer than your belief system. So first what happens, it's like, you have an idea. So it's like, oh, well, I want to start a business. But your reality right now is you work a 9 to 5, you've never started a business, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you're like, I want to start a business. Okay. Oh my God, I can't start a business. Oh my God, all the doubts come up, right? You freak out. That can't happen to me. Who am I to do that? What am I? Blah, blah, blah. How? I don't have money to start a business. All the doubts. Okay. Then you got to deal with your fears. You got to deal with your doubts. And then you got to go back to your dream and be like, well, what if this is possible? How could this be possible? And sometimes we got to remove the how, because that is that ego. But it's like, what if it just were possible, regardless of what you see right now? Because again, what you see right now is slow moving compared to your thoughts. And so the idea is you have to get on the belief system that, what if I could start a business, and do something in the 3D tangible every day to get closer to that, start talking about it. Like,
Yep.
oh, I'm starting a business. Start talking about, I write it down. I'm starting a business about this, this, and this, and this. And one day it's going to be like this. And you do one thing every day that gets closer to it. Now in your, that's feeding the belief system. It's feeding the belief system. And then in the 3D, it's happening slowly, but eventually they will meet.
Yeah, they do.
Eventually they do meet. Now,
Yep.
and it could happen randomly, which is also something to really keep open to, is like, I'm open to miracles happening today.
Mhm.
Because when you're
That's
not,
one of my favorites.
hmm?
That's
Oh,
one of my favorites. I expect miracles.
I expect miracles. Like miracles happen. And my new practice now is every night, for the most part, I do gratitude and miracles practice. I write everything that I'm grateful for, and then I look back on my day, even to like the smallest minute detail of what miracles happened today and things that we would all overlook. The sun was shining yesterday. Did anything like major happen, a major miracle? Well, I mean, it was warm out. Sometimes it does, but again, the more you align and like get your heart really warmed up to the frequency of, I see miracles everywhere, every day, more of them come in. So it's being aware of the little miracles that we don't even, if you weren't like paying attention, you wouldn't even notice.
Yep.
But I don't know, my book's upstairs, but I pulled at the most random things, but like if you really think about them, they really are miracles.
It's interesting too. Let's just break this down for a second, because every single thing we experience is a miracle and it's divinely aligned for us. But it is like some of them we're like, I don't like this because there's a lesson involved and I don't want to do this right now. It's like I am in the process of getting a new truck. So I go down there and I'm like, they're going to have the perfect truck, everything that I want, 0% financing. I'm going to get the best rate ever, like on. And I'm hyping myself up. So I go to the truck lot and I'm looking and I find this truck that I'm like, this is the truck. It's a GMC Denali. The interior was like this beautiful saddle color and it was like lined with white. And I'm like, okay, this is the truck. And I am looking for like a 2,500 or a 3,500. So I go in and I'm talking to this guy, Kyle. He was the one that sold me my last truck. And I said, Kyle, the truck that I love out there, is it a 2,500? He goes, no, it's a 1,500. And I was like, I'm not going to feel disappointed because I know that this is going to work out for me. Period. And so we have a conversation and I just say to him, I'm like, I trust you. Like they did not have the truck on the lot that I wanted, but I still know that it's all working out for me. And I'm just holding that belief. I'm not going to let the disappointment of that truck that I was looking at is not the one. I'm still holding the faith that it's going to be the exact one that I want. So we can like take a situation that we think is like, oh, that is so disappointing. Like now I feel defeated. Or we can say, it's okay. I'm still on my way to exactly what it is that I want. It's still taking me in that direction. So the miracle for me in that situation was, I know exactly what I want now. I know the exact truck that I want.
Yes. I'm trying to think if I have like something I would say with my business, it's the same thing. It's like, well, why isn't it like super, super busy right now? Is that going to discourage you? Because if that's going to discourage you from fulfilling your dreams, like you have to be able to still hold the vision if you don't get your way right now, because it is coming. It's like, they do say it's about the journey, not the destination. It's like and it's like everyone rolls their eyes, but you know what I have found here, I'll talk about buying a house. Okay. Everyone wants to buy a house. This is like some thing we all want to do. I'm not really sure why. You know, it wasn't really even my own desire. It's like I've pulled it from the collective and I'm like, oh, I want to buy a house. So I want to buy a house. Okay, great. There's my desire. My mom passes. Okay. I receive her money. Okay, I'm gonna buy a house. I'm like, well, I gotta buy it now, gotta buy it now, gotta buy it now. Like, well, there's no house available. How am I gonna do it? I want it in my area. Well, how am I gonna do that? I live in a really like pricey town in Ontario. Like it's a cute little quaint town away from the city, away from the hustle and bustle, but it's still considered a good area code that it's part of like a higher tax bracket area code.
Mhm.
Houses here are like minimum, at the bare minimum, 700, 800. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
well, how the heck is that going to happen? I'm single, living on a single person income. Yes, I had a down payment. How?
Yep.
Well, in the moment, on my mom's birthday, here we go. On my mom's birthday in 2023, last year, it would have been August 18th. I was like, well, I'm just going to look for a house today for fun, because that's just what it started to be, was like fun.
You just got this impulse.
I just got an impulse. It was like,
Mhm.
look for a house today. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And so I just did it with no expectation, just for fun. And it was like, there is one house for sale for 501 in your area. And I was like, come on. I was like, okay, we gotta look at the house now today. We're doing it. And I went and looked at the house and put an offer in that day.
Yep.
So it's just like,
That's how easy it can
I,
be.
well, I held the belief. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm living in this town, so God's got to figure it out. Not sure how, but it's going to happen. Now,
Yep.
that could have happened a million different ways. It could have been a semi duplex. It could have been, who knows? I could have, bought it and then turned my basement, if it was a more expensive house, turned the basement into an apartment to rent out. There's a million possibilities, and they're all here right now. And I know this sounds like crazy talk, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm living in this town. I'm buying a house here. So universe,
That's it.
period. You're buying a truck.
Yeah.
It's happening. Figure it out. It's got to happen.
And I think as soon as we can let go,
Yes.
because at that point it's not even just a belief, it's a knowing. You're like, I know I'm buying a house.
Like, I know I'm moving to BC. I have no idea how, when, but it's happening, and I will be living. So God, show me the way and get my rear end there as soon as possible, or when it's meant for me to go.
And sometimes it takes us to do steps like I'm going to just look today. Like that's a tangible step that you were guided to take. And sometimes manifestation takes that. Like if I didn't go down to Cranbrook, if I didn't go to the truck dealership and have that conversation, how would have this conspired? I mean, there's a million possibilities, but I was also guided, this is what we're doing. And not from a place of like, I have to do this in order to get it. It's just, this kind of feels like fun. Let's go do this, just like it felt like fun to you. It's like there's no pressure, but I'm just gonna check it out today.
I think when we put the pressure on, we're like, well, it needs to happen this way.
Yes.
It causes the universe to be like, so the universe responds to your vibration. So if your vibration is pissed off, why isn't it working? The universe is going to mirror that. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working.
It's not working out.
So like yesterday, you're like, well, I'm going to go look for a truck and it's just going to work out. And it happened that second. No, but it will. And so I think this whole thing with manifestation, manifesting your reality, you can't put a time limit on it. You just have to, like, it's working out, it's happening, end of story. Show me how it's going to work and hold the belief and watch it align. Like it will. It will.
Like I could have forced it yesterday and I could have walked away with a truck that was like 70% what I wanted, but I'm like, I'm not settling.
No, don't settle.
Don't ever settle. Hold the vision. Let divine timing conspire in your favor, because we get impatient. It's like we want this right now. Like it needs to happen right now. But it's like that's not how it works.
And right now is because humans believe time is linear, beginning
Yep.
to end. In the universe, in the quantum field, time does not work that way.
No.
Time is like a circle, kind of, if you like a million circles all happening. So it's like right now could be next year, but it's the same, if that makes sense. I know that's like hard to explain, but it's like the fact that you feel the truck is your desire, it just is. So it'll happen because that's what you want.
Yep.
It's not like you're gonna die and it's not gonna happen because you want it and you've called it and it's gonna happen. So we
Yep.
have to sort of, we have to detach from time goes right now, to this step, to this, to then the next, and then the next year, like, let me, like, this saves me a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Calendar is made up. Humans
Yeah.
made it up. It is
Yeah.
made up. That's why holidays make my eyes want to roll back in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, guys, this is made up. So is the clock. So if we didn't know about the clock, and I mean, we are 3D tangible things on this world. So we use tangibility to understand life.
Mhm.
But if you just close your eyes and pretend like it's not real, it's actually not.
Well, like, here's an example. So if the world didn't spin and the sun stayed in the same spot all day, there would be no day and night.
Right.
There would be no yesterday, today.
Right.
It would all be right now. And that's why humans have been like, oh, when it makes in a complete turn and it goes day, night, today, or whatever, oh, we're in a new day. No, you're still in the same now moment. You're still existing right now. It's always right now.
Aging, because we age as well,
Yeah.
that also changes how we perceive life. But
Yeah.
again, it's our body that is aging, not us.
Yeah.
Our consciousness is not aging.
It's ageless.
It is always.
Yep.
And that's just how it works. And it's like
Very quantum.
is what it is. So
People are going to be questioning everything now, but that's good.
yay!
As soon as you start questioning, what am I actually doing here? What is really going on? Like, everyone around me are just actors in a play, acting out our beliefs. Everyone is just acting out what we believe internally and reflecting it back to us.
Okay,
That's what it is.
Let's explain this for people that have they're like, pardon?
It's true though. It's like,
can you explain that as if
yeah.
somebody had never heard that before?
Okay. So it's pretty quantum though. You are the creator. Like I said, you are the writer of the play. And when you decided to incarnate on Earth, you chose life lessons to learn. Abundance, health. Maybe you've been ill most of your life. Maybe you've been poor most of your life. Maybe you've suffered traumatic experiences or karmic relationships, like you have a soul path. The people in your life reflect back to you parts of you that want to be healed. That's what their role is. And they play a role out the way that we expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how it is. If you change your perspective on someone, then they're going to change the way that they treat you.
Not because they're changing, but because your perspective is
different.
It's wild.
It's crazy. It just doesn't feel like it makes sense, because it's like, why is she being so rude today? And then we instantly blame them. But it's just a mirror. It's just a mirror reflecting back to you. And you're like, oh, it's because I think that she treats me that way often. So I believe and I expect her to do that. I assume that she will be ignorant when she's not in a good mood. And so what happens?
I mean, that is not to say, this is, I think, where these lines can get blurred. That is not to say that people are not assholes sometimes.
Yep.
And do things that are not right sometimes. So there's a really fine line. I don't want to be like, it's all your fault. this is where boundaries come in, but
Yep.
let me try
It's
to see if
also a life lesson. This is also a life lesson too.
everything's a life lesson.
So it's
Moment of
just
the
like,
day is a lesson.
just like boundaries. Oh, I need stronger boundaries with this person. It's a lesson. What am I learning in this situation?
Mhm. Okay, let me see if I can describe the life as a mirror. So if you close your eyes for a second, whoever is listening, and you go into your internal world, meaning the time that your mom hurt you when you were a kid, the time that you got bullied, the time that somebody stole your bike, the things that you've held on to in your life. And you didn't heal them, because that's what happens. We grow up and things happen, they get solidified. Parts of us break off, or, that's a whole other thing we could talk about. But we get like these, think about like a stone gets like solidified in your energy. Like, this thing happened to me. Ooh, that's a hurt. This thing happened, that's a hurt. And then past life's lessons, perhaps you didn't clear all of those lessons. So they have come to you and incarnated in this earth. And you've got all these stones in your little basket here, in your energetic basket. And the purpose of life, it is not for a day job. It is not to just go get drunk and sleep with random people. It is not to go to Vegas and gamble money. Like, it is not these 3D things. Those are all reflections of your basket of stones.
Yep. Your
stones are going, let's say one rock or one stone says self-respect. Okay. And that's what your lesson is in your little basket. And you are out in Vegas sleeping with a bunch of random people. And then you feel like you have no self-respect over and over and over and over. And you keep getting this ping in your body, like, oh, I feel so shitty about myself. Why is this happening to me? Why do people use me? Why does this blah, 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 all this like pain about all around self-respect? Why does somebody treat me so badly?
Yeah. Why don't they respect me?
Why don't they respect me? The reason all of these tangible 3D things happen is to reflect back to that one stone you have in your basket of self-respect. It's teaching you how to change, transform, and alchemize the story around self-respect. So you go, actually, no, F you, I'm not sleeping with you anymore. I have self-respect. Actually, no, I have boundaries. I have self-respect. Actually, no, I'm not going to go do this. I have self-respect. Okay. And then the stone of self-respect disappears and it's no longer in your basket. You've changed it. That is when people say life is a mirror, it's like we have these things in these stones in our basket, and they're all different for everybody. For me, self-respect was definitely one of them. It was also boundaries. It was also being able to, like, addiction. But I think underneath addiction, there was other stones. Really, at the core of addiction for me is being able to handle. So it's but being able to handle pain, like being able to feel my emotions, recognize that I'm not going to die from being present, that I can handle things, that I'm strong. So it was like it was showing up as addiction. It was showing up as low self-respect. And it's like, let's go, it would show up as all these things, and these lessons get louder and louder and louder and louder.
And you're like, why is this happening to me?
Why is this happening? And it's not well, we should ask ourselves that. Why is it happening? Where in my life am I not respecting myself?
That's exactly it. Why is this happening to me? People think that life happens to you. It happens for you, by you. It happens by you because you are holding on to these pieces that maybe you're numbing them, maybe you're ignoring them, maybe you're not understanding the stone underneath it. Like for me, quite a few of mine, resilience was one, strength, self-love, self-worth, there's so many different lessons that we have come here to learn.
And
And that is the purpose of Earth.
yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the more that you work on those pieces, those your stones, and the less stones that you carry around, that's when life gets really fun. You're
Mhm.
like, oh my God, wait a second. I can just want a business and have one. Cool.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
just want to help people and I can. Cool. I can just, whatever your dream is, I don't know, like what are some cool dreams? I can just travel the world and I don't have to work a 9 to 5. Cool. And you're going to be like, how? By believing it's true, by allowing your lessons to teach you where your blocks are in believing that's true, clearing your blocks and going living your best life.
Yep. And feeling capable that you're allowed to make decisions that feel a little bit scary, because this piece that keeps coming up, like maybe you continuously get stuck in karmic relationships where you believe that you're treated like crap. And why is that? Why are you in this cycle? What are you learning in this cycle? You know, and that's where like the hard boundaries come in. And maybe you need to leave this relationship. Maybe you need to choose something different. Maybe it's about you being single and learning who you are and why you're here and what your purpose is. And, you know, like there's so many layers. So many layers.
I think the whole thing with relationships, right? Like relationships again are a mirror and they're the hardest ones because people are gonna mirror to you your shortcomings, if you will.
Yep. Yep.
You're gonna be, you know, you're gonna get triggered. You're like, well, that person's an asshole. Or you can be like, why do I have no tolerance for this instance? You
Yep.
know, and sometimes things are not aligned. Like when I went and visited my dad, I'm like, okay, like he is treating me wrongly. And in this moment, like, why is this triggering me? Because it's reminding me of of like not having strong enough boundaries and I need to walk away. So it's
Yep.
like, walk away, okay, like it's very personal and like, it's a very personal experience for everybody, but and like you said earlier, like relationships will, whew,
They'll trigger you. They're our biggest triggers.
this is really random, but I look like a rapper.
You're channeling your inner rapper
I
today.
am. This
Beautiful.
outfit is not on purpose.
I love it.
I don't think I've pulled this outfit out ever.
Nope, this is new.
This
I
is new.
love it. I love it.
I'm a rapper today.
You're a rapper. My brother said to me last night, we tend to gravitate back to the music that we listened to between the ages of 16 and 20.
Oh, I was like waiting for some spiritual thing to come out. Huh.
Oh, so you're listening to hardcore rap? He's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Is there any like facts to support this or?
I don't know. That's just what he said.
I don't
He's
think it-
full of fun facts.
Oh, well, I don't think, I mean, you know what though? Hold on. Hold on. He might have a point because what I was doing between the ages of 16 and 20 was raving. And that is all I listen to now.
There you go.
I go to like high frequency music, meditation music, and
Yeah,
then rave.
rave.
There is nothing in between. This is like
Okay.
the most dramatic thing.
I have to be careful because certain music sounds just like noise to me. That's why I like country, because country is like a lower tone
Yeah.
music, like high frequencies or like electric guitars or like AC/DC. Like I can't listen to it because it just feels really.
I'm gonna
If,
send you a link, see if you can listen to it. You'll
if
probably
it's a nice low tone song, I could listen to it.
well, it's called drum and bass.
Oh yeah.
And so it is that. It's like drum and bass. I think it started. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm not even gonna get into where it started because I don't actually know, and I'm just gonna like say something that's not right. So, and have no idea what I'm talking about. But it is, I think it originated in England, London, England,
Oh.
and it's like soulful. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's like African blended in there,
I love African music.
Yeah, like it's really
Hmm.
cool. Like, and then there's like a lot of like African MCs, and it's like but it's like London, England based. It's
Cool.
I always say that I'm like from another life. I was from London, England, because like I always want to talk in an English accent. I listen to music that's from
It's
London.
true. You
I want to
do.
live, like I want to go. I know, I want to go there. It's
Have
weird.
you done your ancestry?
No.
You should do it.
This is the second time this has come up today within
You
like an
should go to, there's a website called 23andMe.
okay, well, 23andMe, they leaked like that. There's a big scandal. They just leaked everybody's DNA.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
well, that's what I did. I'm from Europe.
Oh,
And it's interesting. I'm like 99.9% European. And then I did that filter the other day on TikTok that said
yeah,
that my
yeah.
soul was born in Italy. And I was like, this is accurate.
I did mine. Mine said I Scandinavia
Oh,
or something like that. Yeah.
interesting. Scandinavian. Huh.
Mean, I could be Scandinavian, I guess.
Could.
I have to Google. I don't even know what that looks like.
I don't need
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a wild story.
We like these.
So I've had this thing that I've needed to heal. And so, okay, I've got like, I don't know, I guess would you call it? It feels like Tourette's, but it's not.
Oh,
It's
you're
it's like an eye twitch. It's like an urge to clench my eyes or to clench my hands. It's very hard to explain, or to like swallow a bunch of times. It's like kind of like an OCD thing.
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. I thought for this whole time it was like, and it probably was developed through trauma. So because I experienced so much trauma, I had nowhere to go. Like I kind of like, I think about like the stress ball where you like squeeze and open, squeeze and open. And there, it's called like a tic, a TIC. So if you like Google this, like other people do have these tics where they're like eyes clench and stuff like that, or they're like shake their head. And so I was like, okay, I am almost like I'm gonna be 37 in 5 days, by the way.
5 days.
5 days. And so I'm like this is like it's painful. It feels like an OCD urge to like tap something 100 times. Like it doesn't feel good on my internal world. I have changed everything about my life. I don't want to carry this on anymore. So I went to hypnosis for it naturally because I'm obsessed with hypnosis. And we got into it. And I was like, okay, like she's like, well, where is this coming from? Like when you're in hypnosis, the way we communicate is we like ask the sensation to show itself in a form, in a color, in a shape, because it gives us insight to what it could be related to. Sometimes it has no meaning, but sometimes it has meaning. And this time it came up as metal. It looked like a Tin Man. And I was like, okay. Like I didn't think of anything of it. And as we go on the journey, we go figure it out, figure it out. And I was very resistant. Like my whole body was frozen as I was in hypnosis. My heart was racing. And that's not like a normal
Response.
response for me, at least in hypnosis. Like it was very resistant to wanting to discover what this thing was about. So I was like,
Were you scared almost?
yes, I was scared.
Okay, yeah.
Where my brain went, I was like, this is awful, but I was like, was I like sexually, like something happened to me when I was younger and like I've blocked it out and this is how I've dealt with it. That was my fear. And I was like,
Yeah.
and then like that's my fear. And I'm like panicking about this and my conscious mind's coming online. Like, what is it, this thing? And so I just kept talking with my hypnotist over and over. I'm like, I'm blocked. I can't figure it out. And she's like, I know, because like, she's like, I'm blocked too. So when you're in hypnosis, like you will be able to feel the energy the client's feeling, which is so cool. And long story short is that when I was younger, so this is wild. So my grandpa went to war. He was in World War II. Now, I had no idea when World War II was. Forgive me, I know, but I didn't. And I just know that he was in the war. He was a Navy SEAL. And it came up that this twitch thing that I have, it said that it is like trying to protect me from relationships, because if I have this like thing always going on, it will keep people away from me, because one, it's like very distracting. Two, I'll kind of feel embarrassed about it, so I won't let people in. So like that, it comes up as a protector. And as I saw that metal, it came up as a shield, came up as like armor.
Mm-hmm.
Deeper than that, I was like, well, where did it come from? And so it came from an entity, an energy source that latched onto my grandpa, but not as like an evil entity, but as like an angel to protect
Yeah.
my grandpa. And then when he came to his house and I was visiting him one day, it actually latched onto me as my protector at 5 years old, to protect me. And like the visual I saw was me sitting, like me holding this man's arm. His name is Tom. He died in 1943. And yeah, like he was my protector. And so the visual is like a big, big, big giant tin man. And I'm like holding his arm like Eeyore. It looked like a sad energy, like help, like I'm helpless, I'm scared, I'm sad. And he was my protector. And I guess what ended up happening is it just became too much of a protecting energy. It's affecting my relationships in the present moment. And yeah, I don't know if anyone's
I
following.
love I,
This is
I
like the
love learning about this stuff.
fascinating thing. So what we did is we sent, so 5-year-old me was like, I'm not ready to let go of Tom, but we sent part of him back to his family. And I'm telling you, my twitching since that day is 50% better. I don't feel this like urge inside of me to have this like compulsion anymore. It's not gone,
Amazing.
but it
Yeah.
is so much better. And like, I have been so ashamed to talk about this, because it's like,
Oh,
like,
it's part of you,
I know, but it's not though. It's not. It's
of
part
your
of.
human experience.
So this is a cool story. I don't know if anybody else has a cool story like this, but apparently this is very normal in hypnosis. I have not studied this part of hypnosis yet, but I will. There's like a whole other spiritual side of hypnosis when you get past like this life and the thing
Human.
on the human experience, there's a whole other door of things.
Ah, love it. I'm obsessed. I love stuff like that.
You know.
Like I could talk about that all day long.
I know.
It's fascinating.
It's very fascinating. And we if you Google like Dolores Cannon, she was
Yeah.
a scientist as well, and this is
Yes.
all she did. She developed quantum healing, quantum hypnosis healing technique. And I haven't studied that either, but I have studied parts of it, and it is all about learning like, how past lives influence the now. And that can happen. Like if you like died
Mhm.
a very tragic way, and let's say you hurt you died drowning, okay?
Mhm.
And now in this life, you're like, I always have this like throat issue. I always cough. And it's like then or there's fluid in my lungs constantly. That's what would happen. It could manifest that way. And you're like, I've gone to the doctor, nothing's wrong with me. I don't know why this keeps happening. That is when it's probably connected to a past life. And when you clear that karma or that trauma or whatever part of your soul like blended into this, or not soul, but
Or
that
came with you.
came to this life, you got to clear that up in your aura, in your subconscious, give it back to the light, and the problems get cleared. Like it is fascinating.
It's funny that you bring up drowning because that's like one of the scariest things. Like that's one of my biggest fears.
Really.
Yeah, like I love the ocean. It's so beautiful and I love to like go in a little bit, but if I'm on a catamaran, I will not be jumping off into the ocean.
Maybe you died in a past life that way.
Scares me.
Well, I mean, like petrified.
No,
Like I
it's
wouldn't be jumping either. Like I don't want things in the ocean to eat.
yeah, I don't want to see what's underneath, but just like rivers, I guess it's like the unforgiving of it. Like it is such a big force that it is so easy for something traumatic to happen, but water is one of my biggest fears. Water and heights. Like not flying.
Like, can we go into hypnosis about this? I'm like, can I pull this? Like, can we do that with high? Oh, I would love to.
I love to fly. Like flying doesn't bother me, but like getting on my roof to do my Christmas lights, no,
So interesting.
I don't like it. And you want to know what's interesting? When my mom had me and I was born and I came out, I was like still in the amniotic sac. And that the spiritual meaning behind that is that I will never drown in this life.
Hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
I want to pick at this. I want to.
Yeah. Drowning and height.
Hmm.
Yeah. Those are my two things.
What am I scared of? Well, by design, I'm scared of everything. Like if you look at my human design, and this is what it feels like in my body,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at my gene keys as well, it's like I am scared of, this is the most dichotomous sentence you'll ever hear. I am scared of life and I'm scared of not living life. And that is coexisting in my energy field
Okay.
all at once. It's in my design. So it's like, and like, so if you could imagine my energy, I'm like a 5 pound poodle. It's like, like, it's like, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. But then it's like,
You have like you bark at everything because you're so
yeah, but
tough.
I'm
Yeah.
scared, I'm scared, but like I have to try. But then it's like a little chihuahua. But I'm mighty. But I gotta do it. But I gotta try. And those are coexisting always. And it's
Interesting.
I have to fight with it constantly. And my blueprint for this life is to overcome the sensation of fear. And so fear
Yeah.
will come up in my life
Yeah.
every like 1,000 gazillion times. So I've just accepted it. I'm like, all right, we are gonna just be friends. I gotta accept it. And it shows up, let me tell you, all the time. But
Mm.
I conquer it. And I didn't know that everybody didn't live this way. Like I thought this was normal.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
No.
to their own path.
Yeah. Each to your own path. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't really have like a major fear of like one thing. I am fearful of life itself. It's
Okay.
very bizarre. Oh, I'm like my DNA is wired that way, but I
Mhm.
consciously overcome it. Like I have to work on it every day.
I almost never feel fear.
Wow.
I know.
It's amazing.
And like when there's like someone in my life that is like speaking fear, like constantly obsessing about something, I'm kind of like, let's look at it from a different perspective. Because I just don't, I mean, I can understand, I can put myself in their shoes and understand like why they would feel that way. But in the same breath, I'm like, but what if it was this way? That's
Right.
just how my brain works.
Well, you've been a huge help to me around that because like I was very fearful at the beginning of this year when all this stuff occurred with me. I'm like, my life's over, everything's terrible. How am I gonna live? How's this gonna happen? Blah, blah, blah. Like
Yeah.
so fear ridden. And it's how you've helped me really anchor in on trust and God. And I'm not religious, but just trusting the universe. Like I told you this the other day, and I'll tell you guys, but I heard somebody on Instagram, he had a reel and he's like, the universe is my sugar daddy.
Yeah.
And that's what it is though.
Yeah.
Like you need to get such a good relationship with the universe that you're like, I am fucking good because the universe is my sugar daddy and I'm taken care of always. And
Always.
just because it's not here right this second doesn't mean it's not going to be here, and I'm good. All is well. And
You
it's
just gotta anchor that into your body and into a knowing that I'm always taken care of. I'm always safe.
always safe.
I'm
And
always safe.
you're not like, I know that it's like, but then this big terrible thing happened and I can speak to those terrible things. And I mean, we won't get into like those terrible things right now, but for the topic of this conversation. It's like, you are always taken care of. And if terrible, terrible things happen to you, there might not always be an explanation of
Mhm.
why
Yeah.
those terrible things happen, but it's what lesson did you learn through
Yeah.
that experience? And I
You
know
learning through it.
it's a hard pill to swallow, and but
And usually you don't see that right away when you're in it. It's like if you suffer a loss and you've lost someone that you really love unexpectedly or even expectedly, it doesn't really matter. It's both the same. It's really hard to see anything other than the heartbreak and the grief that you're moving through at that time. But like it will come.
Mhm.
It will later on. You'll be like, well, I really learned a lot about how strong I am, and like how I can see the love and the memories that they left over the feeling of the grief. Like there's so many different pieces.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to think that we're like completely missing the point here. Like, very terrible things do happen to
Yeah.
people, to women, like, and like I don't want to say like it's your fault, but there are it's weird how this universe
Everything serves a purpose in some way.
does.
In
And
some way.
yeah, the way that I've like taken clients through severe traumatic events in hypnosis is we look at everybody. So let's say if you were assaulted by somebody, and it's like, well, what lesson is that teaching me? It's like that is a really hard thing to be able to like wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And like the technique that I use is, we look at the person who assaulted you as a child, and you're like, what, how bad of a life did that person have? How sad, how terrible did they feel as a child if they did that to you? And like that, like it shifts your state of mind from being a victim to like feeling pity, and
Yeah.
it like unlock different perspectives of
Yeah.
trauma. So that's been really huge for me personally, working through my own trauma and
Yeah.
helping other people. We're getting off track here, but anyways.
Anyways.
Okay, guys. Well, I am leaving for BC tomorrow. Yay!
Again.
And amen, Jesus. And I will be gone for a week. We might probably record there because I'll be getting back Tuesday morning. So we're gonna have to record
Okay.
away. We'll figure that out.
Yep.
And yeah,
Amazing. Have a
amazing.
great trip.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And I love you so much.
I love you
We will,
too.
we will see you guys next week in BC, in the best place on earth.